going back and forth with this young man for quite a while. I'm genuinely impressed with what he's been able to put together in the sport of drag racing. And I've been very interested and just curious to see how this is going to play out, this back of the track racing movement. It seems like they're having 15 of these things every weekend. I know there's not that many, but it really does seem like it has exploded in popularity. Not necessarily a new thing, as we will discuss when he joins us. But ladies and gentlemen, let's bring the one and only Corey Stamper of Spooled Media onto the show. What's up, big dog?
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Hey,
look, he's prepared for this, man. He's got the backdrop up.
Yeah. This is all last minute preparation. So.
Okay. Did you just sheetrock screw that bad boy into the wall?
Let's see. Just some little push nails in. Get it up real quick.
Yeah, I'm big on sheetrock screws. Anybody who's been around me, I run a sheetrock screw through about anything. Corey, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here today. I know that you're fresh off a race. You've made some news this week. We'll get into that in a little bit. But I was actually doing some research before we went on the air, and Mike and I determined that the first article that we ever published in Drag Illustrated about a back of the track event, which I think may be the first one that ever happened, was in 2012. The spring of 2012, we ran an article about a race that was put on at Thunder Valley Raceway in Oklahoma, organized by many of the guys that are now freaking racing superstars. Murder Nova, Big Chief, Doc was there. A bunch of those guys got together and Monza, a whole bunch of them got together and put on this back of the track race. That was in 2012. I mean, does it surprise you that this type of thing has been going on for a decade now?
No, it doesn't. I mean, this is the way I explain it is the way guys can street race without the consequences, pretty much. It's a surface that you would find on a normal road somewhere around there, something like that. And it brings in all aspects. It brings in your street racers, your track racers that want to do it but can't. It brings in your guys that have jobs that can't go out there and do it legally. This gives them the feel of that and the big payouts that you would find in a street race or something of that nature. I'm not going to really say, because I know it's a little illegal, so I don't want to brag too much on the street racing, but hey, it's a big influence in what we do. And, those guys, I remember watching the 1320 videos from there, the Midwest Streetcar videos, the DFWSS videos. That's what played a big part. And I've always loved that racing. I've never had the opportunity to put it on anywhere. And, years and years went by, and I do front side no preps. I've always wanted to do the backside. And, I got to go, one of our local promoters, Eric Hunt, I got to go to his events and loved it. And I said, we need to bring more of this out here. And, we've seen the videos. There's never been a huge deal with it in the Carolinas. And Dig or Die really got it going. I mean, when they went to Rockingham Dragway out here. And, thank God, it took me a little bit to talk Rhett Gardner and the Millers at that time into it, but they let me show what it could do, the racers it could bring in. And I think history pretty much speaks for itself on what we've been doing with this type of race.
Do you think that this is like something that can continue? Like, do you think that this is something, obviously there's a lot of economic factors here in 2022 where we were talking earlier in the show about $6 a gallon diesel, parts availability, work schedules, human resources being as limited as perhaps maybe ever. So there's certainly an uphill battle to fight. But as far as like a format, Corey, do you think this is something that can stick around and will be around? I mean, obviously it's been around for a long time, but the level of popularity it has now, do you see that waning or are we just getting started?
I'm telling you, it's just getting started. This is a type of racing that 100% live for a very long time. I'm not going to say there's going to be some differences. We're probably later on going to make some different rules and control it a little bit. But right now, we're trying to keep it as outlaw as possible. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen some of the setups, and some people agree with how some things are done, some don't. I mean, it's some of the craziest racing and some of the best racing. I mean, take this weekend, for instance, at Dinero Days. I mean, that small tire field, you couldn't ask for better racing. I mean, side by side, barely being decided by half a car or less almost every pass. I mean, my poor little scooter, it was getting a workout going back and forth looking at cameras and things like that. I mean, this type of racing, I feel, especially, it's growing more as not just a small tire relay, not just a big tire. We have two different forms of streetcar classes. We have stick shift guys that want to they're going to have their own deal. I mean, it's such a broad area of racing. It's not, and it's a lot of blue collar guys. I mean, you wouldn't believe the people I talk to. That's I've got a car that could fit this. I want to get into this. I've got a car in building for this. I mean, the things I've heard, and just this racing is going to last a very long time. But as also you said earlier in the show, the economic things going on with the government, things like that right now, that's what's really hurt us. And I saw it this weekend, especially because I like to stay in touch with my racers. Like once they lock in, when we locked this race in this past weekend, gas, diesel, everything was $2 cheaper a gallon. And now, guys had to make decisions, and
do we lose?
we still my entire field.
We lost you there for a minute, Corey. Go ahead.
It's the weather and everything, and we've had a couple power outages. It's not been great up here in West Virginia. Like I said, we had 64 locked. This time when it was locked in, a gallon of gas, a gallon of diesel, everything, $1.50, $2 cheaper. And a lot of these racers that lock into my races are not from the Carolinas. They're from New York, Ohio, Indiana, Missouri, Kansas, California, Texas, Florida. And a lot of these guys, they've got to the point now they can't get parts. It was too expensive. They said, like I said, they're normal guys. And I understand where they're coming from. It is hard to take. I just got off the phone earlier with one of the guys from New York because we're talking about some other races. And he told me it costed him just to come from New York to Darlington was just right over $1,000 in diesel alone. That doesn't count hotel costs, anything like that. And, these guys are here for the long haul. They will be racing, but the longer distance racing is like that, it's going to be tough on these guys.
How do you make the economics of those events work? Like, are they primarily financed by, I mean, I know you get sponsorship support and you've got some great partners, but is some of the magic or some of the upside or whatever to these events that you get everybody to pay like a significant buy-in and then it all goes back to the pot?
What we do with this race is, the way we do it is we lock in the field, and to lock in your spot in it costs you $100. That $100 goes to the pot. It's fun. You one locked in. After that, when you come through the gate, you pay $200, which is a total of $300 buy-in for small tire. Every single bit of that goes to the pot. And then we have our sponsors that also put the money in the pot also. And then we also at the track put money into the purse. So it's not that we're just relying on the racers and the sponsors to support this, but my big thing is we have to put money in. That's just a promoting rule. That's a personal rule myself, because I do, like, we have spectators. We do make money, but we do put money also into the purse. I know there's a lot of races that don't, and I'm just not about that. I mean, these guys, there's no show without the racers, and I will support them, put money in the pots every single time, no matter what. Even if it's a race I'm not putting on, I always try to help out and put something towards the pot.
I think that's awesome, man. And I was just curious because it feels like some of these pots have gotten crazy, right? We had one of the event earlier this year that Mike Gunter won. It was like $60-some thousand that he left with, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting crazy with the car counts, because there's some events. I limit mine to 64 cars, 64, 300 plus what we put on. It ends up being right over $20,000 purse. I mean, we pay back to the semifinals every time, because I feel in this.
I was going to ask you, are you seeing kind of the sentiment evolve when it comes to accepting this type of racing, or are you seeing more and more tracks reach out to you about it or be interested in it versus like it was kind of a, you had to find that one specific track or track owner that would be willing to do this? Are you seeing it being more widely accepted now?
Honestly, the back of the track is 50-50. You have some owners that want it and want to bring it in, and then you have some that are still worried about it, worried about what could happen, things like that. And,
because it's not for every facility, right? I mean, I remember when we published that article on the Thunder Valley
we got
back of the track deal, we got a lot of blowback about it. I mean, it actually forged my relationship with Justin Shearer, Big Chief, because he was so appreciative that we were willing to promote what they were doing, despite him knowing that we took a lot of heat for it. But like you're saying, I looked at it and go, listen, these guys are going to street. They want that atmosphere. They want that crowd down there. They want it to feel sketchy. They want it to be about a tuner and driver's race. They don't want to race on a super prep track. This was before no prep was a common term. And that was as close as you can get to simulating an illegal late night street race. So I understood it. And I thought, if these guys are going to do it no matter what, and we can give them a safe alternative that's close, close, I think we have to do it. But I'm sure that you're still having to win some tracks over, like you mentioned about Russell Miller and Rhett Gardner at Darlington.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go back to 2015. I put on the very first front side no prep, really known in North Carolina, and that was at Shadyside Dragway. And it took me every bit of 2-3 months to talk the owners into it. Seth Buff and Zach Buff, they just put this idea of not putting any glue on the track, going completely against what we're normally do. They couldn't they had to see it to believe it. And we're going into our 7th year now with the race at Shadyside. We'll be doing our 7th one this August. But same thing, it took a little bit convincing. Rhett, Russell, Didi, they were all like, they really want to go to the opposite end of our track and come backwards and race that way. So, guys, it's the thing right now. This is big. I said, I know it's a hard sell. I know you would think this is completely opposite of what y'all are used to, but I said, let me show you. And, those two, they gave me the best opportunity in the world, the biggest opportunity I've ever had in my life to do this race. And, Darlington Dragway stood out to me as an amazing place to do it because one of the widest tracks I've ever seen, concrete walls poured the whole way down. So honestly, the top end of the track, the only real difference I see is there's no timing system and there's no rubber down. I mean, safety wise, everything great. The whole staff came on board with it. And, it was funny because we were like, are they really going to show up for this?
Right.
This is a big gamble. And the very first race we did, we sold out 64 small tire spots in 22 minutes.
Wow.
And I mean, we sold that out. We sold all of our big tire spots out. We only did 2 classes in the very beginning. And, then it's question, all right, this is February. It's the same weekend as Donald Long's race in South Georgia. Are fans going to show up? Or are we going to have this? And honestly, it's like I told them, I said, this is a whole different group. This is not the same fan base that you would see at a radial race, at a pro mod race, or any of that. These people understand and love it. And, Friday, we always use Friday as a tech day. And when we got there Friday morning to open the gates, we had probably 30, 40 racers stacked in the parking lot waiting to get in, get parked, get teched in. And they came in throughout the day. And then you're like, wow, we've almost got every racer here already teched in. And I'm not talking just from the Carolinas. We had people from everywhere. And because nobody had ever made a hit on the backside of this track, it was fresh. And these guys come in, they look at the surface, and this is the worst thing we've ever seen in our life. and no one racing, you usually don't want to hear that, but we loved hearing that. Right, great. This is going to be cool. And
do you real quick to enter, like, do you do anything to the track? Like, do you blow it off? Nothing?
No, I mean, well, Wade Darlington's, the back of it it's so porous and it's so crazy. I forget the exact name of it, but we drag, it's like the carpet thing that picks up all the
magic carpet deal.
Magic carpet. There we go. Yeah, we drag that just to pick up anything loose off of it. And then here we go. Let's
send
go.
them.
Yeah, and we teamed up with BJ the Flagman from Street Outlaws New Orleans. You probably remember him from the TV show. One of the best flagmans in the business. And he's as fair as it gets and all that. And all these racers trust him. So when I did this race, I knew I had to have the best in there.
That's how crazy is that though, Mike? Because it's kind of interesting. This dude's name dropping his flagman, right? And we talk about
built
like,
around
that's
a
something.
Different culture.
It is like I think that's something NHRA lost, right? With Buster Couch and Rick Stewart. I mean, Mark Lyle had an attitude and an air about him. And the new NHRA starter that I believe is traveling around with him at this point, Brad. Another guy that's developing that, but it's not really anything that they've highlighted or focused on in recent years.
We see that over and over with no prep. All this no prep stuff back at the track that falls in that category. You're good.
Well, hey, dude, Corey, seriously, thanks for taking some time to fill us in on some of this stuff. I know I just wanted to give you a minute. We talked a little bit about the economy changes, gas prices, everything that's going on. I know that you had to make a really tough decision, I'm sure. I know you've been in this business for a hot minute, but our heart goes out to you. We know what it's like to decide not to put on a race. You pulled the plug on your November event, but I'm sure we'll see you back in the back of the track promotion ring next year.
It's like I said, this is not the end of it at all. It's just a call I feel is best to be made for those guys. I want to see them. I mean, everywhere we go, they have their local tracks. I want to see them supporting keeping those guys open. That's going to be my big thing, is going to build back to where we can go. And hopefully this time next year, or when we do our first race in the season, it will not be like that. We'll get back to a stabler economy. Everything will be better.
Kanye West may turn up as president. Who knows? You know,
I mean,
that would be an improvement.
A big thing I've told everybody, said I could surely go for a mean tweet right now.
Yeah,
But,
man. I definitely think we should have rolled the dice on Kanye at this point. Like if we could have gave the guy a shot. But seriously, man, our heart goes out to you. I know that was a tough decision to make, but you know what? That's a similar conversation to the one Mike and I had about the World Door Slammer Nationals. It's like in these uncertain times, are we doing a good thing by adding another race? Because there are going to be people that feel obligated to go to support us. There's going to be people that decide not to support a local event, right? Like you're saying, to go support our event because the payout's better or the visibility's better. And it just felt sometimes less is more, man. And we respect that. You're a guy that clearly lines up with us, cares about the sport of drag racing, cares about these racers. So thank you for that, man. I mean, you're not going to hear a lot of people high five you or congratulate you, but that's a tough decision. And those are the type of decisions that will define your career, man. So good on you. And I meant to get out to one this year. I ripped my arm off in February and it kind of derailed my spring, but I promise you I'm going to come hang out with you. If not this year, next year, when you throw another one of these back of the track races. Corey, thanks a bunch, man.
No problem, guys. And just before I go, just want to say a big thanks to Doug Cook at Motion Raceworks for putting gambling on this no prep racing back of the track. And he's also decided to come on. We have one more front side race this year. Like I said, Shady
it's a Shady Side, right? Yeah.
Yes, Doug came on board with that now because he wants to show and keep no prep racing going as much as he can. And I appreciate everything from Doug, the Millers, Rhett, the Buff family, everybody that partners with me, does this stuff with me. I can't thank them enough because I'm literally living my dream. I eat, sleep, breathe drag racing. This is what I want to do. And, even if it's not putting on races, I'm going to try to be still at every race, supporting these guys, doing media, everything I can for them. So, well,
man, we appreciate it. I hope you know that. We're really proud of you and all you're accomplishing in our sport, man. We're looking forward to what you got coming next, man. Stay out of trouble, Corey. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thanks, Corey.
All right, some guys. All right, bud.